Alright, hello everybody, Resonance here, and today I'll be giving you all my commentary on some of the best matches from the Balance of Power tournament. This tournament actually uses a custom balance patch made by Carlos Ferdinand and John Mendl. Before the match begins, I will show some of the relevant changes on the screen, which you can see right now, but I will take those down once the game begins. Now, their balance patch was designed to make every unit, civilization, and strategy a more viable choice in expert games. Today, my focus will be on showcasing matches from the round of 16 and seeing how the new balance changes have affected the metagame. As usual, you can find all the information that you need in the video description below, such as links to watch the other matches and more information on the tournament and a link to the balance patch itself. They are, of course, going to be playing as the Saracens and the Goths, which is why I have their changes listed here. And of course, thank you, to Voobly for hosting the tournament, Aoe2 Zone for compiling and organizing all the replays. Much appreciated. So let's jump straight into this game. Now, of course, before anyone asks, no, this live commentaries on Twitch are not replacing the normal Age of Empires 2 community stream, so don't worry about it. This is just extra content, right? Alright, so without further ado, let's jump straight into Game 3 from the round of 16, which is a 1v1 on the map Loch Ness between the two players, Juan and Spaden. At the bottom right side of the map, we have Juan playing as the Purple Saracens, and on the top left side of the map, we have Spaden playing as the Red Goths. In the previous game that I covered, of course, which was Winchester versus the Viper, Game 1 on the map Dry Arabia, we got to see a little bit of that land side of the metagame now. A lot of changes that happen on land, some new civilizations that we don't normally see in competitive Aoe2. But now in this game, it's time, of course, to check out the other half of the game, the water metagame. How has it changed in the balance patch? That's the real question here. There are a couple significant changes that I do want to go over real quick as these players are, harvesting from their sheep and whatnot. A couple major ones, obviously the Galley line moves 10% slower. That one is pretty big. Fire ships do move a little bit faster, the fire ship and the fast fire ship, and just the fast fire ship is an extra 10 HP. So, we already see fire ships used occasionally when you're dealing with like a small number of opposing galleys, right? The fire ship is just very good at cleaning up fishing ships, and your opponent has like a small number of galleys, very good at cleaning up the galleys as well. But we don't really see fast fire ships because, fire ships die very quickly to massed galleys, and the fire ship will just die before they really get there. So adding extra HP there might make the difference. There has been a little bit of feedback, yes, Clement. I'll go over that in a little bit. And I don't think there have been any team games yet. I think it's been only 1v1s, not my 5k 3 YP3. It's just 1v1 so far. So we haven't seen any team games yet. I mean, really, like when I think about like a balance change that I think we can all agree on, I think that most players agree that one thing that should be changed, at least from balance perspective, is probably slinging. I think slinging is probably a little bit too good. We see slinging used in a lot of pro games. Of course, that's a strategy where, in a team game, one of your teammates will build a market and they'll just spend the entire game, or most of it, just distributing resources. Usually they'll be the Mayans, because the Mayans is such a strong economy, right? Resources last 20% longer. That one is huge. They have an extra villager. They'll just keep slinging resources to their teammate like the entire game. I think that strategy is probably a little bit too strong, but it does get nerfed in this. It did get nerfed in the Wars Coming balance patch. It's getting nerfed in the balance tweaker that Zero Empires and I are working on, so that's going to be awesome. And back onto the water side of things. So again, fire ships a little bit faster. I just realized that the music is not running. Because again, I'm running this through the Voobly client, so like things work a little bit differently. Like my OBS hotkeys don't work, and the game's music doesn't play. But we're in the game. The replays are running, and that's all that really counts. Demolition ships also have +1 armor versus ships, because the real problem with the water metagame is that like galleys are king. As the game goes on and you get enough galleys, you can just kind of blow up all the demo ships and blow up all the fire ships before they actually get to do anything. And that's really bad, because the water metagame is supposed to be a combat triangle. And good night, Nightbringer. Great to have you as always. It's supposed to be like a triangle, right? Like galleys are supposed to lose to fire ships, but fire ships lose to demo ships, and galleys beat demolition ships, because the galleys are supposed to be able to destroy the demolition ships before the demolition ships get to blow up, and the fire ships are supposed to have too short range, right, to prevent that detonation. In practice, it doesn't actually work out that way, as the galleys tend to, when you get enough of them, you get to blow up the fire ships before they even get there, because fire ships do, of course, have a very, very short range, right? So the fire ships do just tend to get gunned down before they get there, and demolition ships don't see any play because fire ships aren't generally massed. Like, if you're going to make fire ships, it's against a small number of galleys and fishing ships. It's for those small number engagements. So we don't really see demolition ships. Also, demolition ships just tend to die too quickly. So demolition ships a little bit tankier. Fire ships faster and tankier in the Imperial Age, and the galleys are slower, which means they can't kite backwards as quickly, and that the fire ships will be able to chase them down a little bit. Combined with the fact that fire ships are a little bit faster is going to make a big difference. You know, even the fact that they're slower might mean that demolition ships can get up to them. I mean, 10% move speed can be a big, big difference. Is the music really that loud? I can go turn it down like real slightly. Let me just do that. All right, I turned it down a little bit. It should be really quiet though. Like, my voice seems to be about like 3-4 times as loud as that. That's a really good question. So Rectal Nectar asks, the Mayans bonus of 20% longer lasting resources. What does this mean? They last longer? Do animals decay slower? That's a great question. Well, what that means is that when they gather, let's say 10 food from a sheep, the sheep only loses 8, if that makes any sense, hopefully. When you chop 10 wood from a tree, the tree only loses 8. And that means that they effectively get 20% more out of their resources. It's kind of a confusing bonus. I never really understood it as a kid, but boy, is it strong. It's such a good bonus. And the cool part about this this balance patch, you know, I love to show you guys something a little bit different than the standard Aoe2 strategies that we haven't seen before. Creative, unique, and innovative and fun strategies. And this balance patch is really going to shake up the metagame a bit. One thing that I think that I'm a little skeptical on is the effect that it will have on the water, because the water metagame is just so very ingrained. Maybe these changes don't go far enough, or maybe they do. We'll find out, because really it's all about that Galley rush strategy. Get to the feudal age super quick. We see Juan going up to the feudal age right now. Spaden is... Wait, yeah. Spaden is not going up to the feudal age yet at all, actually. He's just lingering in the dark age. Wow, he's going for like a big old fish boom. But Juan is going for a standard fast feudal age. He's putting down a second dock. This is a lot more normal. He is just gonna go for the galleys, and we know he's going for the galleys because if we look at the way his eco is set up, how many villagers does he have on food? That's right, zilcho nada. Discounting his fishing ships. With 4 fishing ships, that's just enough food that you need to sustain villager production. And they just move everything into galleys, and this is the standard galley rush strategy that's so very important and prevalent on water. Thank you, CJ, really appreciate it. If I miss a couple of your questions, my bad. Again, I'm live casting, so I won't be able to respond to all of your questions, but I'll try and get to as many of them as I can without impacting the commentary too much. So yeah, this is really standard. I mean, the galley rush, it just goes without saying, is such a good strategy because getting control of the water is so very important, and like, because you need access to all this map control. By taking control of water, you get so much map control. You're able to pressure your opponent from the water with like ships, and it's really hard for them to go deal with that. You can use transport ships as well, so their walls are less effective, and you get such a huge economy boost by having fishing ships. Like, having a dock in the early game means that you basically get to, you know, have like a second town center that's producing villagers in a way. And it also means that you get to save so much wood in the long run that would be spent on farms. The fishing ships do gather so much food so quickly from these fish. It's such a great source of food. And if it's not shore fish, the fishing ships do harvest from it very, very quickly. Galleys coming out here, very standard galley rush here from Juan. He is, of course, playing as the Saracens, so their galleys do attack faster, but that bonus was nerfed a little bit in this balance patch. He's going to go move out and try and punish Spaden for his greed. Spaden is booming like crazy. He is probably, you know, yeah, he's on his way to the feudal age right now, but he only has 1 dock, right? And he went for extra fishing ship. He has an extra one right now, and he's just playing super duper defensively. And this is fascinating considering that, you know, palisade walls are more expensive, right? And stone walls are more expensive and take longer to build, so it certainly favors aggressive strategies here. Spaden is leaving himself wide open to this aggression, and he's taking his fishing ships and running them away so that, you know, he might as well not lose them for free to keep Juan busy. Yeah, and find it fascinating that he's, you know, going for like a little wall off like this, and he's just trying to, you know, survive and just completely ignore the water. That's kind of unheard of, honestly, outside of this balance patch. So already, that's awesome. Because I've already explained this to Black Winds, but this has nothing to do with Eagle Warriors, obviously. The problem with fire ships and demolition ships is that the galleys are just able to outrun them and just gun them down before they get to them. But by making the galley slower, then the fire ships have a much easier time of getting up close to them. The fire ships are also faster themselves, so that makes a huge difference in this case. Eagle Warriors being 10% faster, it's just completely night and day. It has nothing to do with this at all. As, like, you don't use, okay, like, the fact that they're 10% faster doesn't really matter, because, like, they're used for raiding, right? You want them to be tankier, like, they're not tankier, yeah. They're not tankier, they don't do any more damage, and it's not like there's no, like, water triangle thing going on with Eagle Warriors, I guess, if that makes any sense. I hope that kinda does. Either way, Galley's coming out here, but what I like is that Juan actually cut Galley production. He did. He only made 2. Oh, sorry, he made like 4. He made a couple of galleys, and he stopped, because he knows that his opponent isn't making any galleys of his own, so he might as well not waste resources unnecessarily on his own galleys, and just go for like a huge fish boom, because now all this map control, all this water is in his favor. His economy is going to be huge. I don't think the balance speaker made gathering from fishing nets faster. I'm not quite sure. Apple swag. Not 100% sure on that one. Stonewalling coming out here from Juan's kind of standard on Baltic. You know, you'll see the players just stonewall their sides of the map. You do get punished a lot more for doing this in the balance patch that we're seeing played right now, as the stonewalls are more expensive and take longer to build. But Juan is going to do this anyway. And I really think that this favors Juan in this case, because now he has such a strong economy. Players getting housed left and right in this tournament. That's actually awesome. As, yeah, he's got this much food, so much map control, and while, you know, Spaden is going to get to the Castle Age first by quite a bit, he has no map control. He is, like, very weak economy in comparison to Juan. Juan is going to just be able to spam fishing ships like crazy without worrying about being contested on the water, and the stone walls over here are going to prevent any sort of night shenanigans from Spaden. This is good, because Juan knows that once you get to the Castle Age, knights might be coming, so by walling up there, you're basically good to go, prevent the knights from getting in there. Now, Spaden. Oh god, so this is why this balance patch kicks ass, and I love that Carlos Ferdinand and John Mendl did this, because this is already so weird, right? Spaden completely ignored the water, and he just went for fast cancellation of fire ships. Like, what metagame is this? Oh, you would never see this. This is rare. But this works in this situation because Juan cut galley production. Remember, guys, he cut galley production. He only made 6 galleys. And that means that there's a small enough number of galleys that fire ships are going to be able to do so much damage to these galleys. And fire ships are faster here. The galleys are slower. They will not be able to outrun the fire ships that easily. The fire ships will be able to just chase them down and do a lot of damage as they pull back. So, Juan is going to actually have to pull out here as the fast castle into fire ships. Relatively unheard of, but you know, this is still viable in the normal Aoe2 if your opponent doesn't commit too hard into galleys, and I think Juan is a little bit surprised here, because really, who fast castles into fire ships? That's relatively abnormal. Yeah, this is break the meta level stuff right here. He cut galley production because his opponent wasn't making any galleys, so, you know, you want to just build your own economy in that time, not waste resources, but as a result, he gets punished by the fire ships. Now, he does have enough fire ships, Juan does, that Spaden's fire ships will he's going to need to regroup and get more, because there are enough galleys here they'll be able to kind of gun them down a little bit. Hello, AFK Raptor. Welcome to the stream. Yep, I really appreciate all the help, Taff, with fixing this. Pretty straightforward. It happens. I guess I had a outdated version of the balance speaker or something like that. Either way, it works now, and oh my god, the demo ship counter from Juan! New meta! This is what I've been waiting for, man. This is the water metagame that I like. This is really awesome. That's a demo ship. What? Oh, I don't think I've seen maybe like a few demo ships in competitive AOC, but like not really used against fire ships. Like they maybe use a sneaky demo ship to go blow up some troops on land over like a shallow. But this is what water combat was designed to be, a combat triangle, right? And that's so much more interesting because players have to make a lot more meaningful decisions in the game. It's not just whoever can like galley rush the most efficiently, but now it's all about like, can you counter that galley rush? Because, you know, normally water games are just incredibly snowbally, because once you fall behind in a couple of galleys, since there's only one viable thing you can do, it's like GG, right? Assuming you both have like equal micro, and oh, he tried to demo ship down this dock, but he doesn't kill it. Spaden's dock lives with like 150 HP. Juan wanted to blow it up there and just cut that production of fire ships in half, essentially, by taking out a dock, but he does not succeed in doing so. He also has a sneaky forward barracks over here with a spearman, so Whoa! Juan loses the villager, though, to a incredibly conveniently placed wolf, which kind of sucks. But he has a forward barracks with a forward spearman. We'll see how that turns out. Looks like Juan might be ceasing production of the demolition ships right now, as he made them to go deal with the fire ships, but the fire ship production has also stopped. Although I do see a second dock here coming out from Spaden, a second dock on the right side. This dock, of course, is still on fire, but in Age of Empires 2, even if your building is just covered in flames, it doesn't slowly burn down. It's just fine. Fire in this game is non-lethal. Generally not, Gabbletrox, no. Generally not. So, the demo ship here is going to do a lot of damage to both of these fire ships. And the fire ships are going to be able to clean up these galleys. There's just not enough galleys here for Juan. He did not go into War Galley because he's trying to play game of counters in this case. And he's just going for the demo ships. Demo ships are super good against fire ships because fire ships don't have the range to take them out before they get there. And wow, Spaden is going to claim the water as the Goths versus the Saracens. That's actually unreal. You would never really see this. Now, the demo ships, of course, do the area effect damage. He's going to 2-for-1 Spaden here. And, ooh, he's decided to go up to this War Galley. He does manage to get up to the War Galley before it gets gunned down. And, looks like Spaden has managed to decisively claim the water with the War Galley tech. Juan did manage to, you know, go for the Galley Rush, but he actually lost the water doing this. And that's what I love so much about this balance patch. You know, I was saying that I was a little skeptical that the water changes didn't go far enough, but maybe they were actually perfect, because we see here that the Galley Rush had a lot of benefits. The Galley Rush should, and I think at least, should be all about punishing your opponent for going for fast cast legion of fire ships by, like, blowing up all of his fishing ships, right? And just super, like, weakening his economy, and then you get pushed back. It's like a game of momentum. And I don't think you want the fire ships to be too strong, because then Galley Rushing isn't viable at all, and you just change what's OP. And that's what I love, like... Oh man, that is so creative, and Spaden now decisively in the lead. If we go check out the populations right now, it is a 56 villager to 51, and a solid military lead for Spaden. Juan does, okay, like Juan's basically behind in all stretches of the imagination now that he's lost those fishing ships. Because remember, this is even worse for him, because he teched super hard into fishing ships, he built so many of them, thinking that he had just complete water control, and he just lost all those fishing ships. He lost almost all of them because, yeah, he lost almost all of them because he didn't have enough, you know, warboats to actually defend against that. And the demolition ships, while they were good, Spaden is doing what I think is really smart. He's actually mixing up his army comp a bit. He's got fire ships and war galleys. A well-balanced navy might be exactly what he needs in this case. I don't actually know what this forward barracks was for. I really like it though. I don't know what it was for, though, because, like, I don't know what you're going to do raiding with the barracks. I think he planned to build the barracks forward and build, like, an archer range or stable or something, but bad luck just struck Juan there as that wolf just conveniently in the right location at the right time just managed to kill his forward villagers, so that forward barracks didn't do squat. This outpost is good because he'll be able to see if Juan is up to no good on the other side of these walls. And of course, outposts don't cost stone anymore, which means that they're actually a viable thing to build. Normally you don't see people building outposts because they just waste stone, and stone is such a precious finite resource, and you can't afford to just spam outposts for that vision. Looks like Juan is just saying screw it, man. He lost the water. He's just full booming up off of this, and once these stone walls start getting pressured by like a forward siege workshop, he might be in trouble. But Juan has time. These war galleys and fire ships and whatnot won't be able to do too much damage to his economy on land. And another problem with fire ships, of course, is that, let's say you win the water with fire ships, you can't do any pressuring on land with them because they don't have enough range, but war galleys can, of course, poke at a lumber camp like this. Fire ships cannot, unless you give fire ships plus 12 range, which might be broken. That might be unfair. So, in this case, Juan is just, you know, taking it easy. He's at even villager count with his opponent Spaden right now. He's slightly pulling ahead here. Check the number of town centers. It's actually 3 TCs to 3. So they're both about equivalent here. But Spaden has a bunch of fishing ships. It's just Juan has more land villagers. But Spaden, oh yeah, with the transport ship. Now this is an exciting Age of Empires 2 metagame. So far, and I haven't seen obviously all the matches in this tournament, but so far I would consider this to be a rousing success. This is very exciting, and it still feels enough like Age of Empires 2, right? But there's just more options. You have to be so careful with balancing to not just create a new metagame where people just like, yo, just everyone goes for fire ships rather than galleys, and this is what's so very cool about this. I love seeing their approach here, and now we get to really see the effect of the changes now. What's interesting about Loch Ness compared to Baltic, obviously, is that you're on a little bit of higher elevation here, so the dealing with the ships is a little bit easier, especially with like a watchtower or something like that. But the forward castle here is going to get protected, of course, by Spaden's war galleys. Yeah, see, the elevation here also makes it so that the defending player, like water combat's a little less snowbally, because you can have the elevation advantage, which is pretty awesome. Thank you for posting the balance changes in the Twitch chat, Taff. Appreciate it. It's forward castle coming out here from Spaden. Juan better answer this, and his response is a monastery. He wants to make some monks, try and deal with those forward villagers as best he can. Now, this might not be enough, as this forward castle is going up at a breakneck speed here with 5 villagers in the transport ship. These monks are not going to come out quick enough. Oh god, please. Please tell me, Spaden, you're dropping Huskarls on him, right? I want to see a Huskarl. Spaden, please make me a Huskarl. That would make me so happy. I demand Huskarls. Juan here, once again, raiding with another spearman, but this is, believe it or not, worth it, actually. It's Juan breaking the meta, 1 forward spearman at a time, has managed to force a villager off the line to go fight the spearman. That's totally worth it. That's a totally worthwhile trade. Trading 1 spearman for 1 villager's work time is actually a lot of economic damage, so I like that. Juan is actually managing to get some value off a forward barracks with spearmen, so it's pretty clever. Forces 1 villager to chase after him. University, so this makes me think that Juan is just thinking of going to Imp. Yeah, I mean, he's stockpiling enough food that he totally wants to do that. He's Saracen, so his market exchange rate is a little better, so he can sell and buy resources for a much better rate than all the other civs can. So I understand why he's doing that. He wants a trebuchet. He wants to get the Imperial Age guys and make trebs to go deal with his castle. He thinks that's the only way he can deal with this, and I think that that's a reasonable line of thought. It's one of the safest ways to remove this. Like, battering rams won't quite cut it. He needs to be able to remove this castle without being in range of this navy from Spaden, and trebuchet is really like the only way to do that. So he needs to get to the Imperial Age, and he's using the market right now. We can see that to go just his economy, build his castle here. Now he needs to survive the Imperial Age, make some trebuchets, and take down these castles, take down these barracks, take down the siege workshop. Forward outpost! Oh no! Spaden dropping outposts. He has so much vision. What will Juan do? Well, he's going to put down a forward watchtower here. 31-minute trush here coming out from Spaden. I like that as well. This is crazy. It's a whole new game. This is super good. Like, I feel like this is the right number of changes, where it still feels like Aoe2, but now we just have more options. This is great. And Spaden! Spaden, my friend, I'm so very happy to see these Huskarls in action. Huskarls are actually a pretty legit raiding unit, assuming you have the castle and you're just able to produce them. You have the opportunity in this case, because they have so much pierce armor. They're essentially immune to any form of arrows, so you might as well just use them to raid. They're just super duper weak against things like champions. If the Goths are giving you trouble, make champions, guys. This monk with the relic is going to die. You can't drop it off in that monastery either, because it just got battering rammed down. Are infantry now even faster than vills? That's a good question, Torminator. I think they might be. At least the men-at-arms and beyond might be. Either way, I don't think he has murder holes, so that's bad. But the Mamluks here from Juan, and Mamluks did actually get buffed as well. If we take a brief look at the changes, let me go open this up. Yes, let's see. So, non-elite Mamluks have 70 HP instead of 65, so it's an extra 5 HP, and they have an extra 1 attack, so 8 instead of 7. Mamluks do melee damage, right? They happen to have range, but they do melee damage, so they're pretty good against these Huskarls. And well, the battering rams do actually have less than 0 melee armor, sorry, the Dura armor, believe it or not. So villagers are quite good at shanking them down. He has to kill these battering rams. He has to get to the Imperial Age and make a trebuchet. Oh, there's so much idle time on all these villagers. They're all inside this castle. The Mamluks will still be able to chip at the Huskarls, but it's not really good enough. It's not efficient. Like, the Huskarls are so cheap, because all the Goths infantry units cost like nothing, and Mamluks are such an expensive unit gold-wise. Juan's economy in absolute shambles. He can't do anything. These Huskarls are too tanky. The battering rams are too tanky. Juan in dire straits. Is he going to give up this castle? He's going to pull out and give up this castle. He's not going to repair it, which is probably wise. He's outnumbered. He won't be able to do it. Oh, God. Well, he's got the Mamluks, which are pretty good against Huskarls, but that's why you get the defense upgrades on Huskarls so they can live a little bit longer. Juan actually went for the +1 attack, because again, he's just trying to tear right through these Huskarls. He needs something to balance out this +2 defense. He's up to the Imperial Age. Here comes the Trebuchet. Did he take enough damage from this? It's hard to say. I mean, Spaden's ahead by like 16, 17 villagers, but is it enough? It's hard to say. There's a 40 pop lead right now, but, you know, in terms of the game, I mean, Juan is still in this. He's going to go grab that relic right now as he's really valuing that gold gen over time. Juan thinks this game's going to go on for a while, so he's gonna stick in it. And I know it looks like it's GG, but it might not be yet. It's hard to say. I mean, Juan is behind substantially in the population department, but he hasn't taken as much damage as we think he would. He's only behind like 20 villagers, believe it or not, and a huge chunk of that population, the 35 population discrepancy, and that military pop discrepancy is actually Navy guys. You have to keep in mind it's actually the Navy. There are so many ships here, and these ships aren't super relevant at this point in the game. I can't wait to see another spearman, by the way. I hope Juan just makes one more. Just for me, Juan. If you could do that, that'd be great. This forward watchtower is actually getting some serious value here, too. Yeah, I mean, really, this game's a lot closer than it seems, because a huge chunk of that military is actually, like, it's a Navy, it's oceanic, so that means that, actually, on land, it's a little bit closer than it seems, and now, the trebuchets here will be able to go poke at that castle from a safe distance and deal with this forward. It's Spaden with so many forward barracks. He's garrisoning them in here so that they don't get sniped off. I see pikemen to go deal with the Mamluks, but this is actually pretty good for Juan because pikemen get gunned down so quickly by the castle, so the Mamluks won't really have to worry about that. They can kite backwards. You let the Dura armor slip around. Indeed, the Black Winds, indeed. You caught me red-handed. War Galley is here looking for something to shoot at, but, well, it doesn't quite work that way, unfortunately. No aquatic buildings here for Juan. He can't get close enough with these War Galleys. This game is not over yet. The trebuchet is putting on some pressure, and Spaden can't really deal with this. Like, he actually can't really deal with this. Most importantly, Spaden is not up to Imp yet. He's almost to the Imperial Age, so he doesn't have trebuchets of his own. No bombard cannons. It's so hard to deal with these trebuchets underneath this castle. He needs something to be able to take out these trebs underneath the castle, but the pikemen aren't going to be enough to do it. The pikemen will just get mowed down first. The pikemen can either kill the Mamluks or the trebuchet. They can't do both, and he doesn't have enough of them. So, Mamluks new metagame. I like this. I like this so much from Juan. You go, Juan. Take him down. Use the trebuchets. This game so far has been so radically different from the standard stuff that we see in normal AOC that I'm really thoroughly enjoying this. I hope you guys are also enjoying a little bit of a fresh take on the game, too. Now, Spaden is finally getting to that critical mass of pikes will have enough that he will be able to actually engage this, and he's getting the halberdier upgrade. He doesn't have a barracks in his own base, does he? No, he doesn't. These are all of his military buildings. I was going to say, it would be better to get it in his own base if possible, but he does not have another one. Hello, Panda. Welcome to the stream. And yeah, here comes the pikeman. Howell upgrade coming out here. He's going for, like, mass battering rams. That's interesting. I wonder if he's getting, like, chemistry at his home base. No chem. No chemistry, yeah. Because bombard cannons are definitely a good way to deal with those trebuchets from a safe distance. Also, having your own trebs is important, but he can't do that because Spaden needs that conscription upgrade. So he can either get conscription or make a trebuchet, and he's going for conscription here. He's going to try and push out with these battering rams. He thinks he has a critical mass of halbs that he'll be able to engage here, but they're just getting mowed down. Oh, the elite Mamluks with a +2 attack. This is the one situation where you want the attack over the defense upgrades on your melee units. I mean, they're technically ranged, but they're also technically melee, because they do melee damage. And their range is short enough that, you know, generally you want the defense upgrades, but not in this case where it's all about killing the halbs before they get to do damage, because you have the range advantage here. And he's just gonna tear through this army just like a knife through butter. These battering rams just gonna get slaughtered, and you guys calling it GG in the chat. Checkmate, guys. Mamluks OP. The Goths don't have anything on this. He can't get out enough halbs to be able to go deal with this army. The Mamluks can kill the halbs before they get there because the halbs just die so fast. Another barracks coming out here from Spaden. He's not giving up this line of attack, but he's gonna have to. He's gonna have to think of a plan B. Pressure this side, and Spaden is a good player. Both of these guys, of course, very skilled players. They know exactly what's up. Spaden is gonna start pressuring the other side of the map. He's gonna use this castle to go poke at these stone walls here and bring them down and just start pressuring from the land, because this forward is actually failed. He's gonna be pushed back here by the Mamluks, by the trebuchets. So Juan with an absolutely brilliant gambit here. I have to say, like, Juan's thought process here, like, this is so great. That's why I love the balance patches like these, because when you add so many more options that the players have to make, it's not about, like, these mirror matches anymore where both players are doing exactly the same thing and it's just all purely down to execution. There's a lot of mind games to it, too. You have to be able to outthink your opponent, think ahead, and start thinking about counters. And in this case, Juan's just like, he looks at the situation, he doesn't panic. He knows he needs to get to the Imperial Age, get at a trebuchet to turn the situation around, and the Mamluks are actually working, but he needs to pull back into the castle. That's what made the Mamluks so good in this case. He has to pull back in the castle so that the castle and the Mamluks gun them down, and he doesn't lose too many unnecessarily, because Spaden wins the value game here. These halberdiers, it doesn't matter. He can trade them all day. They cost nothing if you're the Goths, almost nothing, and the Mamluks are an incredibly expensive unit on the gold side of things, so you definitely do not want to trade them here. But this forward is going to get cleaned out entirely, and it looks like both players here just going aggressive, but Spaden, he sees the forward here. That's why Outposts, also the new metagame. Outposts OP, guys. They're the best building in the game. I never thought I'd see this. Outposts seriously OP. Like, he sees this. He sees the forward siege workshops here from Juan, and he uses a transport ship to drop a couple of villagers, build 2 barracks, build a bunch of Huskarls, and clear out this forward before it even does anything. That's brilliant. I love this. And now he's just dropping barracks everywhere. Remember, guys, the Goths units, they fuck like rabbits. They spawn almost instantly, and they cost like nothing. He just needs to overwhelm his opponent, as the Saracens, like, they've got great units, but they're really expensive, and the Goths can just produce an army instantly from anywhere, and he's just on all sides of the map pressuring Juan. Juan just can't get a break. So much map control for him, and like, really, because Spaden had these 2 outposts here, he saw this forward coming. He did, and he's just able to clear it out. On this side of things, Spaden is also applying more pressure here. With more Huskarls, he's rich. He's floating a lot of cash. Juan's still behind the population by like a solid 50, because again, he lost a lot of his economy. He needs more houses. A big problem that's coming up for him right now is, again, he doesn't have the water, so that means he can't build close to the coastline, and he's constantly under threat of these transport ships dropping villagers, building more barracks, and just spawning everything everywhere. Hello to Hunter. Good to see you, man. This is awesome. This is absolutely awesome. The Huskarls moving in here. Oh, what's Juan gonna do now? Now he's in actually deep trouble. Like, this forward over here was kind of okay, but he's being pressured on all sides of the map. Juan can't have his army everywhere. He can't do it. He has the Mamluks over here on this side trying to deal with these forward barracks, but here comes another force of Huskarls. He needs Mamluks in his own base for these ones. And he also needs Mamluks over here for this. Remember, guys, the Goths, infantry in general, have a higher attack bonus versus buildings, so they do actually eat through these walls a little bit quicker than normal. And yeah, also stone walls are more expensive and build slower, so Juan's gonna get punished for this more than he normally would. Spaden is gonna, of course, I hope he has sappers. I don't actually think he does. I can dream, guys. Maybe the next balance patch, sappers will be free. That'd be sick. Sappers gives villagers plus 15 attack in general. Boom, balanced. I like it. He's trying to just shank this wall so he can go pressure even more on this side, you know, with more villagers than just the ones that he has, and that he dropped with the transport ship. But yeah, I mean, this is why taking care of the water is just so very important. Look at this map control here. You can't build along the coastline, right? So that means that you can't build walls along the coastline either, and you get punished so very hard for building these walls. Juan can't build a second layer. He has to answer this. He can't stall. This battle is inevitable now, and Juan needs an answer. He needs an answer. The player that's applying pressure is usually at such a big advantage here, because Juan just has no initiative. Like, Spaden can do whatever he wants, and Juan has to respond, and, well, it's going to be really, really bad, as, you know, Spaden's just going to be one step ahead here. Juan going for nothing but Mamluks here. He does have a lot more upgrades, but I don't know if nothing but Mamluks is the way to go. He does have the eco for this, which is why he's doing this. Look at all the gold he has. They cost gold and food, but mostly gold, right? So this is a great, great choice, but he might need more than this. Maybe champions. He doesn't have the food for it, which I think is why he's not going for it. Because, again, he has no space to build. He has no map control. He can't build enough farms. He can't build enough houses. He can't build enough walls. He can't do anything. So he's just kind of forced into building these Mamluks, and I think this is when Spaden actually clinches this one. But I see a whopping 3 siege workshops here from Juan, so Juan's got a plan. He sees something I don't. It's probably not going to be... Hello, Hearthstone. It's probably not going to be mass heavy scorpions. I can dream, but it's probably not going to be. I'm not quite sure what these are. I think these are bombard cannons to clear out the ships along the coastline, because he knows he needs that map control. He's just so far behind in the population department. This game is remarkably close, but he's really behind in the pop department, because he just has no space to build, and he'll be able to get pressured along the coastline from everything. From absolutely everything. Hello, SK Cromsteel. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, like, I think that he's just going to get pressured from all sides of the map now because of these war galleys that he just can't clear out. And yeah, I'm assuming that those are bombard cannons, yeah. It makes sense for his economy because he has so much wood, he has so much gold, and he needs to go clear out that coastline, but he hasn't built anything yet. The mass Mamluks, I think you just lose the value game versus the Goths. I mean, Spaden is incredibly wealthy, taking a page out of the Viper's book last game. He's just flaunting his wealth here. Look at that cash. This guy's got 7,000 wood. Well, we're going to see an engagement here. This one's going to be pretty decisive. I'm going to swap back to Juan's perspective so you can watch these elite Mamluks just get shredded. They're really good against these Huskarls, yes, but the numbers advantage here is just heavily in favor of Spaden. Juan will not be able to make enough Mamluks. He can't keep this up forever. Spaden has the map control. Spaden will be able to just keep making Huskarls. I know what you're thinking, like, why is he making Huskarls and not, like, Halbs or something? Because that's a good question, I think. And the answer is, of course, is that the Halbs just get gunned down by the castle, which is why they didn't really do anything in this engagement over here, right? Whereas the Huskarls can apply so much pressure underneath the town centers. I think they're both a decent option here. Like, we can see right now that the Halbs just getting shredded. Well, Juan's actually doing a really good job defending this. He hasn't crumbled yet. He cleared out that entire army. He's still holding this side. He's actually holding all sides of the map. He's not dead yet. Yeah, we'll see the black wins. I would love that. No bombard cannons yet, actually. Really, again, it's just the map control. Like, if we take a look at this, Spaden has another gold mine left. He has the entire map to himself, and I don't think that he's seen this gold mine in the corner, but he also has it. Oh, guys, this is why you scout every little last black blob in the game. Like, if you played Age of Empires 2, I'm sure we all understand, we all know that feeling where your wild boar or one of your gold mines or something is in that one tiny tile of black that you didn't scout. Here it is, guys. Classic Age of Empires 2. Of course there's a gold mine in that one tiny little black tile. Duh. It's every game. There's always something in those black tiles. He's dead, but not dead yet. Juan's like the Black Knight from Monty Python. This dude just doesn't die. Everything to Juan is merely a flesh wound when you have elite Mamluks. Refusing to die, but he's running out of cash, and thankfully he's the Saracens, so he can, you know, sell and buy resources at the market for sweet deals. Be able to sell wood, be able to sell food, and continually produce guys, but Spaden is headed up to here with his stall fest. Spaden is going to close the game out with some bombard cannons, and you know the great stall breaker, of course, will be those siege weapons. No matter what you're making, you're going to try and back it up with siege weapons, or it's just too easy to defend. And I love the bombard cannon choice. I think that's going to clinch it out for Spaden. I think that this is when Juan just kind of collapses in this case, because I mean, while he can go charge at these bombard cannons and, you know, throw an infinite supply of scimitars at them, just like in real life, of course, they will just be able to blow up all the castles, and really, like, Juan just cannot take these trades. This is really inefficient for Spaden. Like, he's losing units like crazy. He's lost almost, like, double the units of Juan, but Juan has no map control, no resources, he has no room to build. He's falling so far behind in the population department, but he won't give up. He's gonna lose the right side of the map, and that might be it. The Goths do get cannon galleons, I think, yes, but he can't build anything on the water. He just can't do it. I think that he built those 3 siege workshops planning to tech into bombard cannons so that he could, like, clear out the navy and then try and build something on the water, but... Oh, sorry, no, never mind. Spaden, yeah, you're talking about, like, having Spaden make cannon galleons and not Juan trying to build ships. Yeah, I mean, Spaden could make cannon galleons, but I don't think he needs to because there's nothing close enough to the water for Spaden to really blow down with his cannon galleons. There's nothing close enough to the water. He's already cleared out, like, almost everything. The cannon galleons won't accomplish too much. You might as well make bombard cannons. And Juan, yet again, narrowly avoids death. This guy just doesn't die. He's literally immortal. Juan has 9 lives. But he's, it's going to be a slow bleed here for him. I really, like, I don't think he can do too much in this case. And I would love to be horribly wrong in this case. As a caster, I love it when the crazy comebacks happen. He's going to pressure this castle, and it always favors the person who's, like, trebbing it down, as, you know, the guy's defending it wastes so much stone, and he has no answer to this trebuchet. Repairing in this case is kind of useless, because he doesn't have an answer to this treb, and if you don't have an answer, you're just wasting stone for wasting stone. You know, repairing it's really good when you have your own treb shooting back at it, you have your own bombard cannons, but in this case, it's going to lose a lot of stone here for nothing. This castle will inevitably go down. Juan wins the left side, but he loses the right side, and he's just running out of building space. He has no building space at all. And I think it's going to be really bad for him. I think that Spaden could keep this up all day. I mean, look at Spaden, guys. He's the richest man in the universe. He's in Forbes top 30 under 30. Spaden is so rich, he can keep this up all day, whereas Juan is running out of stuff. He's going to run out of trees. Like, eventually, that's going to happen, because, like, he can't chop anything near the edges of the map. He can't farm enough stuff. He takes out this castle. It's the little victories that count for Juan in this case. Will that be enough? Because he needs an answer to the right side of the map. We're going to find out. Well, Juan not giving up yet. He's pushing out here. The bombard cannons are going to apply so much pressure. Like, this is why backing up your army with siege when you just charge in here is great. Because if your opponent, takes his army of Mamluks and he charges with the bombard cannons, then he lose everything to the army of Huskarls and Helbs and other infantry units, right? But if you go for the infantry army at the front, then you lose everything to bombard cannons. So that's why bombards is so good in this case. And Juan with the nothing but Mamluks was just barely not enough. But it was still awesome, and he still actually managed to survive for a really, really long period of time. But congratulations to Spaden, who does manage to actually turn this game around. This game was incredibly back and forth and very close, but he does end up winning in the end. Not a lot of forward spearmen here, man. I was hoping for the 58-minute militia drop, but I can dream. I can dream. This game was still absolutely awesome, and what Spaden needed to do, he couldn't just keep attacking from one side. He needed to overwhelm Juan and just really take advantage of the fact that the Goths can produce an army so very quickly compared to the Saracens and just be everywhere. He's attacking on 3 fronts at once, and there's no way Juan can do anything about that, as Juan can't keep his army at all 3 fronts and win it. The Goths can just produce an army quicker and really, really push that one out. This was already so different than something that we would see in standard AOC, and I just thoroughly enjoyed this. Saw a very standard Galley rush here from Juan, which worked. I think it was pretty balanced, as he did manage to kill all the fishing ships over. You did not see the stock on the right side. Get a little bit of that early game lead, but then he got punished hard by the fire ships. Responded with demo ships, which worked pretty well. But then Spaden throws in a mix of fire ships and war galleys and just kind of cleans that one out. The fact that Spaden got momentum back on the water and cleared out like more fishing ships than he lost to Juan's galley rush was a huge turning point in the game, man. This was extremely entertaining to watch. I love that we get to see some different civs too here. So, GG well played, guys. That was awesome. I'm going to remember this time to, of course, pause the background music, and it's time to check out the achievements. Yeah, Galley Rush didn't work perfectly in this situation, but I mean, I'm glad that it's not the go-to thing here. It did some damage, but it didn't win the game. And that's really cool. This is a lot less snowbally in this case. You have more answers to your opponent rather than just mimicking and mirroring what he does and just doing it better. I like that. There's a lot more decision making going on here, and well, we can really see that Juan just didn't have enough room to farm anything, and they both needed food. Spaden obviously needed more because he's just making more units in general, but there's just not enough room to farm. Spaden's economy is just so much stronger because Juan had no place to build. He's just thoroughly behind in population for most of the game. Relic Gold also made a pretty big impact here, as Juan had some relics at the end, but he lost his monastery. He wasn't able to get the relics as quickly as Spaden. Spaden had one more. And we can see in this game, yeah, Juan decisively ahead here. The huge loss in fishing ships, the huge loss right over here made a big difference. Juan was very ahead for sure. And then you see the fire ships coming out here, and whoop, demo shipped. Oh man, that is actually pretty awesome. You see the fire ships here, push him in, and then, look at this. You lose all the fire ships to the demo ships, so that's pretty sick. That's pretty sick. Alright guys, so thank you so much for the support as always. Of course, I will have everything you need in the video description below. Links to watch all the other matches. I have so many other Age of Empires 2 videos on my YouTube channel, as well as videos for other games. If you like this one, you'll probably like those as well. And I will be right back in just a moment with the next match of the live stream, so don't go anywhere. We're going to be watching another replay. I also do live stream regularly, and I'd love to have you. So, see a link on the screen to my Twitch page. You can find the schedule below the video player by scrolling down. And if you're looking for more complete coverage of the specific tournament, I believe the Voobly Official has almost all the matches on their YouTube page. Alright guys, we're going to be right back on a brief break. Thank you so much for watching so far, but don't go anywhere. This is time for one more game. It's time for, I do believe the plan is, yes, some Koreans versus Byzantines. That's going to be a fun one. Some civs that we don't normally see too. So, alright, I'll see you guys in just a moment. GG.